Here he is from New York, that Kevin McCullough.
Todd Chatman is back with us. And Todd, you know, we spent a lot of time this year trying to describe to people what conditions the slaves find themselves in. And it's dark. It's terrible. They're taken at the most vulnerable moment of their young childhood. Many of them walked into slavery for miles and miles, weeks and weeks. They go and serve people that abuse them in every way possible, and sexually, verbally, physically. You mentioned a woman in the first hour that has just been liberated who was gang raped in public. That is not uncommon. Genital mutilation, where the slave master says, if you want to be a good Muslim woman, which they're not asking to be, they're just forced to be, you have to go mutilate yourself, and here's a rusty lid of a tin can to go do it with, and go down by the river somewhere. Some of them have died from such things. The amount of suffering, you could compile it, and it would just look like the worst series of combinations it could ever be. And yet every one of these women have survived that. And when they are told that Christians in America have provided their freedom and have brought them home, the joy, the smile, the rejoicing. You mentioned a party in the first hour, the parties that they throw in the villages when they get home. You can't know anything as happy as this at Christmas time. And that's why we do it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And we do it, CSI, Christian Solidarity International. We're a Christian organization, a faith-based organization. And whether that's your orientation or not, I think we can all agree that, as human beings, none of us want to see another human being enslaved. And so it's just a great blessing. And it's really phenomenal, Kevin, to think about the sheer volume, the number of lives that have been saved through generous people like you. I mean, CSI has been engaged in this work actually since the 70s, but in Sudan, liberating these Sudanese slaves since the early 2000s. And every year, thousands of women are liberated, brought into a new life and freedom. Whenever we can, reunited with their family from whom they were stolen years and years ago. And many of these women have had children while they were in captivity. We're able to begin to rescue some of those kids now as well. So we're just really, really grateful for your generosity, for God's blessing on this work, that he continues to give us the opportunity to affect the freedom of these women. But please just hear from my heart on behalf of CSI. We are so grateful, because without you and your $250 and more gifts, we can't do this work. So thank you so much. 350 slaves just liberated last month, more soon in early 2023. So this is a great time as you think about your year-end giving here in the final few days of this year. We would be so grateful if you would consider CSI as one of those places you want to make a donation, a life-changing donation.
And when we talk about liberation, the actual walking them across the border into South Sudan is kind of the final step. It's the final layer, right? Yeah. So the liberation kind of looks like this. We give our gift in the McCullough House. We give a $250 a month gift. And friends, I would love to find two people watching or listening tonight that would join us in that challenge, the monthly challenge. But and if we did that, we would be way past the 16 that are needed to be liberated. But first, the gift is given. Then, because of electronic magicry and all the stuff that you can do with credit cards and stuff now, it just goes immediately to work. So they immediately are able to have the grain and the resources to make the bag of hope. But long before that, the slave retrievers, who happen to be, for the most part, Arabs, that want to have good relationships with farmers and Christians in the South, they do this willingly. They go up into the Arab regions of northern Sudan. They identify where the slaves are. They start conversations with the slave masters, and it's a deliberation. It's hard. You have to go back and forth and say, we want them out. How do we do this? Then the real kind of linchpin for it is this vaccine that helps keep their cattle healthy. We trade that. That is more valuable to the slave master than the life of a human being. So he gives the slave its freedom. Then we are able to bring them together. Once they get to the border, then they have a time of recovery and recuperation where mental health, medical help, any number of other needs that they may have, the telling of their story, the trying to remember their names from when they were children, because many of these women have been told you can't even have your name. And then comes the real fun, because they're given their bag of hope. They have a big party right there. And then they're taken to their villages, where usually a pastor or a family member or people that may remember their family are contacted. And Todd, you think the prodigal son had a party when he got home with his dad and he killed the fatted calf and brought the best robe? That's just kind of a little preview of what they do. I've been told that sometimes this party lasts for weeks at the celebration of someone coming home.
They do know how to party, and for good reason, right? I mean, can you imagine being in slavery for years? Even
imagine losing your
decades?
sister when you're a kid and not seeing her again until you're 25 or 30 years old.
Yeah. Thinking you'd never see them again. You didn't know what happened to them. And then suddenly they come back, and what a massive family reunion that is. That's the best kind right there.
Well, and it's all in part because Christian Solidarity is a faith-based, it's a Christ-centered ministry that really believes that social justice, we talk a lot about it in America. This is the ultimate social justice, to bring someone out of slavery and back into life.
Yeah. And, one of the things, we're not always able to, I mean, sometimes many, many years have passed, and we've, if these women were abducted when they were very young, it can take some time, sometimes sadly not able to get them reunited with their family members. But in that intervening time, they are put together with pastors and churches, so they are brought into a community. They've never known that either, right? And so that's a beautiful thing. They don't come back and just, they're not like they're given a bag of hope and like, all right, good luck to you. Hope you do okay. No, it's they're brought back into community, and everything that we can do to get them on a life that's sustainable and a life of freedom, that's what we do. And again, it's only possible because you give so generously, and we just can't wait to see the remaining gifts roll in so that we can rescue these 16 more women, or even more. We'd love to see, obviously, even more. We've got another retrieval coming up in early 2024.
888-342-1010, 888-342-1010. And people have asked me, Kev, do you know ahead of time exactly when the retrievers will go? And we don't, and we can't tell you that even if we did know, because there would be a degree of safety that you're jeopardizing by making that information public. So it's very important that we protect those that are doing the hard work. But the hard work starts long before your gift. What your gift does is it enables that bag of hope. It enables that negotiation to be completed, that bag of hope to be assembled, and that safety in their return back to their home region, back to their home church, back to their home village, sometimes back to family members, although it is not uncommon at all for them not to have family left. Many of them, when they were taken into slavery, lost their family, sometimes graphically right in front of their very eyes. So it's very, very it's just a renewal process all the way around. There's no other word to describe what they have to go through, but the joy, the joy. It's so deep. It's so immense. The gratitude. Thank you for what you've done. Please don't stop until you bring them all home. 888-342-1010, 888-342-1010, 888-342-1010, or go to bringherhome.org. That's bringherhome.org. Bringherhome.org, or 888-342-1010. We continue live from Times Square. Stay with us.